Evening, everybody. Hari Om, Namaste, Namo Narayan, Happy Guru Purnima. My name is Swami Mona Murthy, and I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Guru Purnima today. I made a video a year ago today, actually. I came back to the internet, did a few videos in the last 12 months, and it was all about Babaji, and what I had to do is tell everyone about his formula that he told me about back in 2020. So it took 3 years to do that till I thought about it a lot and decided to just go ahead with what Babaji told me to do. So tonight, I'm going to just say a bit of an introduction, and then I'll just move into some of the documents that I've got to look at and read about, and some of the chronological order about how Babaji really came into my life. And where I'd like to start, I'd really like to just send out my love and blessings that I feel to all those people that celebrate this auspicious and holy day around the world, they're mainly Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains, but also yoga aspirants all over the world that have teachers, acharyas, or gurus, because this day is dedicated to the gurus. And for me personally, it's to my gurus and to my yoga friends and all the yoga aspirants. And also, I like to send out some blessings or some of my gurus' love that hopefully I might receive and move on to anyone else that's watching, to my new colleagues that are working on the XG1 project with me. So I'll just name them. That's Dr. Max Rempel and Dr. Richard Allen Miller and Dr. Stanley Krippner. So I haven't met Stanley, but I've met Richard on Skype a few times, and Max quite a few times now. And we're on the phone constantly about the project. It's quite a really interesting project, and I'm sure it'll tie into what we're going to be talking about tonight. So before I get into the document, I'm just going to bring up my dedication page, and I'll actually share that. This is my dedication page from my second book that I wrote, the Kriya Yoga Workbook, and where I'm dedicating it to my gurus, actually. And I'll share that. Okay, so this is straight from my book. I'll just enlarge that a little bit. Okay, so the book, my Kriya book, is dedicated to my spiritual gurus. So that's very relevant tonight because it's Guru Purnima. My gurus who have helped me and guided me throughout my spiritual journey of self-discovery. Paramahansa Swami Satyananda, Shai Bindu Lahiri, Paramahansa Swami Naranjananda Saraswati, Swami Ananda Kapila Saraswati, Dr. John Mumford, Yogi Naraharinath, Swami Janakananda Saraswati, and Mahavatar Babaji, which we're going to talk about tonight. So I won't go into any more there. So I'll take that off share now on that document. and I'll get back into this document. And at the end of this document, and talking about the chronological order, how Babaji sort of came into my life, I'd like to go through some photos that we might be talking about as I go through this list. And so it might take half an hour, possibly, and yeah, we'll get through it all. So I'll bring that up. Okay. So in 1981, I really got seriously into yoga and started putting in a lot of time, maybe 5 hours a day, into the yoga, asana, pranayama, mudras, bandhas, and everything. And I started reading Autobiography of a Yogi, amongst other books, Hatha Yoga Pradipika mainly, and Autobiography of a Yogi, which is a fantastic book. And I was just spellbound by how amazing it was, talking about Babaji materializing in palace and initiating Lahiri Marseille and drawing him up there to the Himalayas. That was just amazing. So I started reading Autobiography of Yogi again. I read it many times. I read it about 5 times, I suppose, and really in depth and really got into it. And in 1985, I had my first initiation into Kriya Yoga, which was at the ashram in New South Wales, the headquarters of Satchidananda Yoga, and that was by Swami Nardamurti Saraswati in Australia. I think it was a beginner's Kriya course. That was like an introduction to Kriya for a week, and that was really amazing. I felt it so powerful, and I just loved it from that day onwards. Or I was actually practicing a few Kriyas before that, but I started getting right into it from 85 onwards. A year later, I had my first Kundalini awakening, and before that, on the same day, about an hour before that, Swami Satchidananda, who I hadn't even met, he appeared in my bedroom, in my darkened bedroom, as a hologram, a full-size hologram from the waist up at the head of at the foot of my bed. And he was talking to me mind to mind. So that was my first experience of telepathy. So, or transmission. In the yogic tradition, they talk of telepathy, not as we do, like in modern scientific terms, they talk about telepathy, but spiritual transmission. But it was real mind to mind. And this is a hologram in front of me of my guru, who I had not even met, but I'd read a few books about Swamiji. And that was really mind blowing. And, like an hour later, I've spoke about this numerous times and made videos and talked about this, so I won't go over it. So I had a Kundalini awakening, and that was my first, and that was a whole big year for me. And anyway, in 1988, just getting into the Babaji side of things, 1988, I went to BR School of Yoga and met Swami Satchidananda, and Swamiji gave me some personal advice on Kriya Yoga. And one day, for many days, I was working, doing some Karma Yoga in the printing press. And there was a book coming off the printing press, which was called, I've got a copy of it here. I don't know if you can see that, the early teachings of Swami Satchidananda. It was coming off the press, so I couldn't help but look at it. All these pages coming off, and I'm just reading these pages there coming off the press, and we're putting all the books together. That was my karma yoga, well, part of it every day. And I just wanted to. This is where Babaji. First time I ever read about Babaji and Swami Satchidananda, any of Swami Satchidananda's books, and I'll just read you what's written here in this book. It's on the tradition of Kriya Yoga. Somebody at the satsang, so it took 20 years for this book to be published. So this satsang is from about 1967. Swamiji was talking about Kriya Yoga. Somebody asked Swamiji, I've heard that Swami Shivananda was asked to build a mission by Babaji. Is this so? This is Swamiji's reply. Yes, he ordered him to build up a mission, Babaji. As a matter of fact, Swami Shivananda received initiation into Kriya Yoga from Babaji, but he did not teach these techniques to anybody himself. At the time I was leaving the ashram, however, he taught me all the techniques in not more than 25 minutes. So that's Babaji. That's a hint there to dig a bit deeper. Babaji in Swami Shivananda's order, Swami Satchidananda. So I dug a bit further into, here's a biography, Gurudev Shivananda by Swami Venkatasananda. And Swami Venkatasananda is writing here. He's talking about Swami Shivananda, right? He says, that's chapter 16, the homeless prince among men. Last but not least comes a special Chana Dal, which the founder of the Nepali Kshetra, the great Nepali Baba, himself served the sadhus. Very often Gurudev would walk all the distance from Kolgat to Nepali Kshetra, a distance of about 3 miles, for his dal soup. He is often referred to this during his visit later to the Nepali Kshetra, talking to Mahant Chetramji, a noble saint and disciple of the Nepali Baba. Gurudev would say, I still remember the days when I would come all the way from Kolgat to take a cup of Chana Dal that Babaji would give me so lovingly. He had great affection for me. It was not the dal that was the power that drew Gurudev to the Nepali Kshetra, but the darshan, had to have the darshan of Nepali Baba. So if you look further into it, so in those years, it was around 1924. So in those years, there was many sightings of Harayakan Babaji. Harayakan Babaji, one of the manifestations of Babaji, Harayakan. And about 1925 or around that time, Harayakan Babaji took Jala Samadhi in the Kali River in front of thousands or many, many people. And he wasn't really seen after that. But although I did read the other day that somebody might have seen him around 1930, but Babaji is just, he doesn't need a physical body. He's like an immortal, ascended yoga master. And he can appear anywhere, walk through dimensions, and, you can read about Babaji's Mahavatar Babaji initiating Adi Shankaracharya and many other people throughout the ages. So I'll just go on a little bit further. So that's where I'm up to, 1988. I just told you that bit about Swami Shivananda. And in 1993, it was actually a very amazing year for me. In 1993, I felt like I really wanted to get some books on Babaji. So I got into the train. I've spoken about this before. I got into the train and I went from Nowra up to Sydney to Adya Bookshop. And when I was in the bookshop, I met a lady about half an hour later. I got there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and she was there about half past 9. And we started talking non-stop. This lady's name was Barbara White. And I'm going to show you some things that she sent me later on. But I'll just write in here, in this document, I met Barbara White from Hobart, Tasmania at Adya Bookshop, and she told me that Babaji directed her to meet me. Babaji told Barbara to go to Sydney, Adya Bookshop. There's someone there that I want you to meet. She immediately flew to Sydney, right? Got a ticket, got the plane. The next day, she was in Sydney, went to Adya Bookshop following Babaji's orders. And she met me and she told me that I was the one that Babaji had directed her to come and see me. So just to give you an idea of this sort of woman that Barbara White was, I'll take this document off, share, and let's have a look at this. This is a yantra or a mandala. After the meeting with Barbara, like we spoke all day long, like 8 hours straight, and we got on so amazing. Like I was reading books on Babaji. Like I was at the bookshop and I actually purchased all these books, 6 books, right, by Swami Satya Swarananda Giri on Babaji and Lahiri Masai. And Barbara came up to me and started talking to me about Kundalini and Kriya Yoga and Babaji and all these psychic things. And it was just amazing, mind-blowing. Before I left, Barbara asked me for my address. I gave her the address and they kicked us out of the shop, the bookshop really, about 5 o'clock. And we parted ways, but I was really happy. A week later, I received this mandala or yantra. We've called it the Kundalini mandala. And I've had this picture ever since that. So that's like 30 years. So it's, where is it? I've got it somewhere. Oh, here it is here. There it is there. There it is there. I've had it hanging on the wall for 30 years and been contemplating its meaning, and I've had some brilliant people look at it, and especially one of my friends, Dr. Subrata Kaviraj, who's a physicist, look at it, and he's wrote up a beautiful report about it, scientific report, and he's a follower or devotee of Babaji as well. So it's a really amazing report, and I have to publish it. And I mean, I was talking about this years ago, really, um, about publishing this, but actually I've written this. This is all in the first book that I've written on Kundalini, which I finished in 2020. Um, so that's this yantra, right? It's all about Kundalini and super mind. And when I get into the pictures later on, I'll show you a bit about what Subrata's written about it. But that's really amazing. But these yantras, these like Babaji actually materialized, right? Darshan materialized in her meditation room in Hobart in Tasmania. Right. So here's an enlightened yogi. He can travel anywhere. And she was pretty enlightened herself, Barbara. So this was pretty amazing. And anyway, she gave me the first message about Babaji. So I'm going to take that document off share. So less than 2 months later, that's me there. So less than 2 months later, I met Shai Bindu Lahiri and took initiation from Shai Bindu in Sydney. So that was an amazing experience meeting Shai Bindu and getting connected to the lineage of Babaji, who I'd been reading about since Autobiography of a Yogi, and from Barbara, and from those books that I purchased reading all about. And all of a sudden, Shai Bindu appears in Sydney. So, and it was amazing talking to Shai Bindu. So, Shai Bindu is another person that's met Babaji, and Shai Bindu told me that, he'd been, Babaji came to visit him in 1988, and he's been teaching Kriya Yoga non-stop to this day. So he's still initiating people into Kriya Yoga right now, right today at Satyalok in Varanasi. He's doing initiations with his son for yoga aspirants taking initiation or diksha into Kriya Yoga, for their dynastic tradition, Kriya Yoga. So it's authentic as per Lahiri Masay, the great yogi. So the sadhana that was taught to him from Babaji has been passed on down through the dynastic tradition from Lahiri Masay to Tinkari Lahiri, to Satyacharan Lahiri, to Shai Bindu. And I met Shai Bindu there. So, and actually I had the good fortune of meeting Shai Bindu 2 years later, which was another amazing experience. And I've got some photos of that day that I'll show later on. Christmas Day in 1995. So that was a beautiful experience. So I was actually at Bihar School of Yoga for 4 months and had a couple of days off before the final examinations of the course that I was doing. That was the inaugural certificate course. And myself and an Indian friend, Jagdish, we got a pass to get out of the ashram for a few days, maybe a week, 5 days. And we went by train to Bodh Gaya, and that was amazing too. And then we continued the journey up to Varanasi, stayed at Kedar Ghat hotel there, And I phoned Shai Bindu, and he invited us round the next day, which happened to be Christmas Day. So that was really amazing. And we had an amazing time visiting. That was a really powerful experience. Of really felt like Babaji, as we were walking along the Ghats, along the Ganges, past Manikartika Ghat, further up towards Chowsati Ghat it is, and then up towards the house and ringing the bell, and Shai Bindu answered the door, and it was fantastic. And anyway, I've talked about that before, but I might talk a bit later on, and I'll share some photos. But I felt Babaji's energy drawing us there every step of the way. It was Babaji and returning somewhere where I'd been before, and that's what it felt like. It's just like a love, devotion feeling, and it was really, really amazing, really powerful. And so I'm going to take that off share, and I'll get back to that document. So 1993. So yeah, I met Shai Bindu. So 1997, I had my um, third initiation into Kriya Yoga at the BR School of Yoga by Swami Satchidharma. And then we met Swami Satyananda before that out at Rikia. And then I went off to Nepal for a month, and I met Yogi Naraharinath, who also became my guru. He's one of my gurus that I mentioned there at the start of this talk. So yeah, he was one of my gurus, and he also had so many um, divine powers or cities. He could read my thoughts and transmit images to me, and he did that. And some amazing things, Yogi Naraharinath. So yeah, I'm writing in here. In Nepal, I met the great Nepalese yogi Naraharinath, and during a conversation, he asked me through a translator if I had any questions. Before I could utter one word, he read my thoughts, and he told me, I was thinking about, maybe I'll ask him a question about Babaji. And he read my thoughts, and he told me where in Tibet that Babaji lived, the coordinates. So I've written about that in my Kriya book. I've written a whole chapter about Yogi Naraharinath, and also a couple of pictures of where the coordinates are in relation to Mount Kailash and Siddha Ashram or Shambhala, whatever you want to call it. So I'll show you the photo later on, the Google Earth photo. So 2011 was my fourth initiation. So during my fourth initiation into Kriya Yoga by Swami Janakananda at the 3-month Kriya Yoga retreat in Sweden. So I went to Sweden, attended the 3-month Kriya retreat in their winter. It was fantastic. And I felt Babaji was guiding my every move. Swami Janakananda said that when he commenced teaching Kriya Yoga in 1971, so I was there 40 years later, right? 2011, 40 years. That was the 40th year he was teaching Kriya Yoga for. So in 1971, when he started to teach Kriya Yoga, a group of Indians appeared at the ashram to check his teaching of Kriya Yoga. And Swami Janakanda told me, he said, "You might not be ready for what I'm about to say, but one of those Indians was Babaji." And there's also some other experiences that Swami Janakanda told me, and I've also read. I'll get to that later on in my talk when I near the end. So that was 2011 with Swami Janakananda, my fourth initiation, that which was a really solid initiation, 33-day initiation in the middle of the 3-month course. And in 2012, I visited the Himalayas with some friends. At Gangotri and Kedarnath and Badrinath, I really felt the presence of Babaji, and there's a couple of coins, mementos. I don't know if you can see that. From Badrinath. So I'll show some photos later on of Badrinath. But yeah, we're talking about Guru Purnima tonight, and it's Vyasa Purnima as well, Veda Vyasa. So on the way up past Badrinath, we went up to Mana village, which is a bit higher up, about 5 k's from Badrinath. And I sat in the cave of Vyasa for a little while, did a bit of meditation in there. That was beautiful. So that's a very historic place. That's very historic. And during my second trip to India in 2012, I taught a couple of people, a couple of friends, very close friends, some Kriyas in Udaipur in Rajasthan. So that was the first time I taught Kriya Yoga to anybody. So that was a pretty solid initiation every morning. It was for about 2 weeks. And 2013, during Navaratri, again, I initiated some very close friends into Kriya Yoga and met Nag Devata, who entered one of my students. So we're talking about like a spiritual possession. I was visited also astrally by yogis as I was teaching Kriya Yoga during the Navaratri. Who the yogis were, I do not know. But in one dream one night during the initiation, Swami Satyananda asked me to start writing about Kundalini and Kriya Yoga and to keep teaching it. So I'll mention that when I was teaching Kriya Yoga, I could see that these yogis they came down through the ceiling and sat at the back of the room behind my students. And it was like I was half in this dimension and half in the astral dimension teaching. And that was amazing. In 2014, Babaji, he came into a dream of mine and he instructed me about Dakshina. Dakshina is like a sacred offering to the Guru, Dakshina, and what was required if I wanted to receive initiation from Babaji. And also, Babaji taught me how to pray to him, which I do every Sunday, which today is Sunday, which I do every Sunday as instructed since then. So that's 2014. So it's 10 years since then. So I give Babaji Dakshina. Good. And anyway, I'll speak a little bit later, a bit more about that. So 2017, Babaji started. I've talked about this in my YouTube video that I did back in 2017. That was my first video that I did. I did a webinar in 10 years ago in 2014 for the Emerging Sciences Foundation. But this is my first video that I'd made because Babaji started talking to me, like in my head, in my mind, telling me, make a video about Barbara White, about meeting Barbara White, and put it up on YouTube. So Babaji was constantly like reprimanding me, sort of, and reminding me, make that video, make that video. And I kept sort of putting it off, but in the end, I thought I had to. And it was like probably four to 6 months. He was asking me, and I did it. So I did it, and that was a bit of a test for me, I suppose. And I did it, and in that video, you'll see I spoke about Swami Satchidananda and Babaji, and that was it. And that Kundalini mandala from Barbara White, I talk about that. So that was Babaji telling me to make that video. So in 2018, Babaji initiated me into a higher Kriya Yoga technique. So it's a higher Kriya. This is what Shai Bindu is initiating right now, the higher Kriyas. So Babaji taught me directly a higher Kriya Yoga technique, which he called the Kriya of Awakening of the Letters, also saying that it is the Kriya of liberation. So when I say he taught me, he was inside of me. He wasn't outside of me speaking to me. He was inside of me showing me this technique, and I was living it. It was a total experience. So this is Babaji's got the power to come inside of you, enter you, or be outside of you, right? So to materialize, like Babaji materialized. So outside of Barbara to tell Barbara what to do. So that's called darshan. And inside, he was inside of me. So many people, there mightn't be many people have had that experience, but anyway, I spoke about one of these things about being taught all these astrally. So I've been initiated a number of times in astrally, and they're very powerful, total experiences. So in 2018 and 19, I was sidelined with a spinal surgery. And on the 19th of December, I think it was 2018, November, I had my first operation. 2019, 19th of December, I had my second spinal surgery. It was an L5-S1 spinal fusion and a discectomy, which was a 5-hour major operation. The operation was delayed for 3 hours, and I had to wait on the trolley outside of the theatre, the operating theatre, where my surgeon was operating on the person before me, like just behind the doors. There was an operation going on, and I had to wait petrified outside, just waiting. I was getting all prepped up, waiting to go in. And as I laid on the trolley, I prayed like never before to Babaji for a long time. And the surgery was a success, and Babaji was with me the whole time through it. That's what I felt. So that was a big event in my life, that surgery. And 2018. Well, I went to India, and I just came back from India, and that happened. And so that was a big turning point in my life where I had to get out of what I was doing and, just relax a bit and think about what else to do, get back into yoga. So 2020 was another big year. I had a channeling session with a, a renowned, internationally renowned channeler called Jim Charles, and I spoke directly to Babaji for 45 minutes. I've shared those recordings, minus some redacted sections, which are, due to privacy, a bit too personal. So I think there's 7 videos, 7 short ones I've shared. And I wrote about Babaji in my second manuscript book on the Kriya Yoga Workbook. And in 2020, I also received a very strongly transmitted or downloaded message about yoga, which I've spoke about last Guru Purnima. Y equals M, T plus S. And last year, 2023, on Guru Purnima, 1 year ago, Guru Purnima, 3rd of July last year, I shared Babaji's formula, Mahavatar Babaji's formula, Y equals M T plus S, and what that means. So everybody should look at that, and that's Babaji's new formula for this millennia, right? What yoga means: mastery of time and space, time plus space. Yoga equals mastery of time plus space. And what time plus space means, you'll have to look it up in the video. Have a good listen. I won't go repeating it all. I've done it so many times. So I shared that message from Babaji, which was transmitted straight into me or downloaded straight into me as I was driving the car. And I published that, his formula, and started talking about it and about Babaji online. I was visited astrally last year also by my Kriya Yoga guru Shaibindu Lahiri during the night of the 9th of September. So I'm saying watch my live recording on 11th of September. So all my videos that I made last year, I made a series of them. 11th of September, watch that one. So Shaibindu visited me, my Kriya Yoga guru, astrally. And I felt Babaji and Shaibindu powerfully blessing me. So that was last year, 2023. 2024, Babaji told me, that's this year, Babaji told me in an astral dream in June, which is last month, to start teaching Kriya Yoga from where I live. So that'll be next year now. I was supposed to be starting to teach tomorrow, the day after Guru Purnima, but that's another story. I won't get into anything negative right now because this is about Guru Purnima. So, and amazingly, my Kriya Yoga guru, Shaibindu Lahiri, visited my Facebook page last month, and I haven't heard from Shaibindu since I visited him on Christmas Day, back in 1995. So that's a long time, 29 years, nearly 30 years next year. So yeah, Shaibindu visited me a couple of weeks ago, and which I thought was really amazing. And I was very honoured to have him comment, and even like my photo, and I was very happy. And also on the lead up to Guru Purnima last week, one night on the 16th of July, Babaji was constantly talking to me in my deepest sleep. There were 3 astral dreams with Babaji that night. So 3 dreams, the whole night was about Babaji. 3 dreams that night. One I will mention, the other 2 I won't. Babaji told me how learners worship me physically and advanced aspirants worship me mentally. Babaji and I speak to each other subconsciously and consciously. So he talks to me subconsciously or consciously, and he's getting my messages and I'm getting his messages. It's amazing. And this was confirmed also during the July 2020 channeling session. So anybody can come and listen to those videos. And I've come to believe now that he's with me, always guiding me. Okay. Kripacharya. Once Kripacharya, who's from the Mahavatar era, talked to me after I landed from the sky and sat with him and his group of yogis in the Himalayas. The yogis, about 10 or 12, were sitting around the edge of a circular lake as I landed. I very slowly floated down to a vacant mat that was 2 spaces from Kripacharya. The great immortal yogi even introduced himself and said to me, "You don't know me. I am Kripacharya," and he smiled to me. Now that was simply amazing. So I don't know about. That was amazing. I was almost like I was floating down in slow motion and landed right where that mat was around this lake. And he gestured where to land, and I landed there. And he introduced himself. So there must be some connection with Kripacharya. And I found out more about Kripacharya by reading Pilot Baba's book, Himalaya Unveils Mystery. In here's the whole chapter on Babaji. And Pilot Baba says that Harayakan Babaji and Mahavatar Babaji are both manifestations, or they were conjured up by Kripacharya. So the bodies are used, or the incarnations are used to give guidance, and throughout the ages. Apparently, this is what Pilot Baba says, that Kripacharya is directing the whole show. And so I just wanted to mention that about Kripacharya. So anybody wants to read that book from Pilot Baba, that's really amazing. So these books that I got in 1993, before I go into a little bit further, I want to show you these books. Swami Satya Swarananda Giri is Babaji 1, the Divine Himalayan Yogi. Babaji 2, the Hiri Maasai, the Pole Star of Kriya. Babaji 3, Masters of the Original Kriya. This is interesting, this one. The Kriya Sutras of Babaji. Okay, so in here, Swami Satyaswarananda Giri, the Kriya Sutras, Babaji was living, Swami Satyaswarananda was living in the Himalayas for 12 years at Dunagiri Hill. And Babaji visited him. And what's written in here, the Kriya Sutras of Babaji, are direct transmissions from Babaji. So this book's called the Kriya Sutras of Babaji, right? So what he transmitted to me was Babaji's formula for yoga. So I'll call that the new Yoga Sutra. That sutra was Babaji's Sutra. Y equals M, T plus S. It's Babaji's Sutra. So gives you an idea about telepathy, right? So we're talking about spiritual transmission, right? Astrally. So if you read this book, you're not just hearing about how crazy you might think I am, revealing this last year about Babaji talking into my head. Same thing. Swami Satyaswarananda Giri received these sutras, the Kriya Sutras of Babaji. Read the book. It's fantastic. It's all about Babaji's message. Fantastic. So, there's some fantastic other books. Kriya, Finding the True Path, the Holy Bible in the Light of Kriya. This is another fantastic one. Hidden Wisdom, the Manu Sangita, Mystery of Manu. So when I was studying that deeply, that one, I had a beautiful vision and a light of Lirima Say himself. This is actually before 2010, I was doing that. Before I went to Sweden, I made my mind up after I had the vision of Lirima Say to go and do that 3-month retreat with Swami Janakananda. And yeah, that was pretty amazing. And here's some other books about Babaji. So everybody's got a different version of, who Babaji is. So here's another one. I don't know if you can see that. Sri Babaji. Sri Gorakshanath. So this is the Babaji that used to be with Pilot Baba all the time, that you saw Pilot Baba doing his underground samadhi and places like that. This is the Babaji that was around him all the time in this book. This is another unusual book, but fantastic. Mahavatar Babaji's New Gospel. So this is another fantastic read. 4 years of satsangs. So by Mahavatar Babaji. From 2004 to 2008, 4 years of satsangs. So I'll let everyone make up their own mind who their Babaji is, who their Mahavatar Babaji is. But, I know everyone wants to think that, who's Babaji, who's Babaji. So Babaji is whoever appears inside of you. And so unless it's a real inner experience, it's not a real experience. So I didn't meet this Babaji in the physical body, but I've met the author of all those satsangs. I met him and in the astral inside me, and he's taught me some things. So I wanted to go a bit further here. So I mentioned earlier, in 2014, Mahavatar Babaji spoke to me in a vivid astral dream, and he told me that if you want to be me to initiate you into Kriya Yoga, there must be Dakshina offering, and that there is no Diksha initiation without Dakshina, sacred offering. Babaji then told me that I would have to give him as Dakshina an offering of $3 per week. Not much money. So $3 per week as his sacred offering. And he told me what else to do, such as how to pray for him every Sunday and wait for me to come again. So every Sunday from that day onwards, I gave my Dakshina to Babaji. So as I worshipped him, I left my $3, it was only $3, for him. And I saved it up and saved it up and saved it up. And I eventually opened a bank account for him and I put my money in there. And so every Sunday from that day onwards, I gave my Dakshina to Babaji and offered it to his photo in my meditation room and prayed as instructed. After nearly 5 years in 2018, big year for me, I told you, Babaji. Babaji, true to his word, did come to me in the astral and fully initiated me into his Kriya Yoga technique that he called Babaji's Kriya, the awakening of the letters. And he further commented that this is the Kriya of liberation. So I mentioned that before. Yeah, by Babaji. So what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing with this doing, and the transaction price that I have put on each course on satyamyoga.com is because of what I have previously learnt from my spiritual master Mahavatar Babaji, that there is no initiation or diksha without dakshina. When I eventually commenced teaching yoga again, like I've retired 20 years ago, and when I eventually commenced teaching yoga, explain about the website delays. Well, I won't get into that now. I might make another video about that. The Dakshina offering is the student's part of the subtle transaction, which will be transparently advertised on my website. Since 1st of January 2004, so that's when I retired, 31st of December 2003. So since the next day, that's 20 years, I have freely given yogic advice to anyone that has asked me without any charge. But now I am working according to Babaji's wishes henceforth. Why? Because I want to keep receiving Babaji's blessings. And now I'm going to pull up some photos. All right. So I'll see if I can get these going inside. Okay, so I'm just going to flick through some photos here and maybe talk about them a little bit as I go through. This is at Bodh Gaya on the way to meet Shai Bindu. So we called in at Bodh Gaya, which was fantastic. And this is near the main temple there. This is where Buddha was enlightened. And this is at one of the temples there, Mahabodhi temple. This is really beautiful. And this is just on the way at Bodh Gaya. Well, actually, this is an older, actually a later shot. This is from when I visited or met Yogi Naraharinath. That's his secretary there, Jaya Bista. Jaya was the one that translated for me. That was Yogi Naraharinath's secretary. And there's some amazing stories, and I'm sure I've spoken about them before, about Jaya appearing at my door and Yogi Naraharinath transmitting something to me. Anyway, I won't get into that now, but okay, there's Yogi Naraharinath, one of my gurus, and he's simply amazing, and you can read all about him on the internet. Babaji, Babaji. Oh, this is at Badrinath photo I took looking up the valley. Beautiful place, and Badrinath is just such an amazing place where it's very famous for Babaji because he's one of the legends of that place, or the legend of that place. And here we go. That's me there, standing out front of the temple at Badrinath, and that's my friend Aaron, who's traveling with us. Aaron Sinha, who sadly passed away, at front of the temple. Beautiful place, Badrinath. And everyone just. And when we were on the way to that temple, there's all these children there, like young kids, young girls. I think they were girls, young school children chanting Om Kriya Babaji Namaha, Om Kriya Babaji Namaha, Om Kriya Babaji Namaha, and it was simply amazing. So it's really the land of Babaji up there, and that's Barbara White's mandala. There's a photo of Harayak and Babaji, Swami Naranjan, my guru also. Oh, that was our class photo from 1995. That was an amazing experience doing that. It really opened my mind up that 4 months there. That was on the way there. That's on the way to the ashram. I was mucking around with Swami Satyadharma, Gyan Priyag, Swami Gyan Priyag, and Paramatma back at Bodh Gaya. That's me in my room, Bodh Gaya. Swami Naranjan on my graduation day. I was very happy. And, I tried hard in that course and got a distinction, and that was very happy picking up that award of Swamiji, who's my guru, who initiated me into sannyas that year. Paramahansaji out of Rikia, my guru, which was amazing. Another photo I took of Paramahansaji. I love that one. And I've got that one framed. That's that one. Bulgaria. This is on the way to, this is at Varanasi, on the way to Shaibendu's place. So we walked right along the Ganges there. This is the view from Kedar Ghat up towards Manikartika and all the other ghats further on. That's Manikartika Ghat, where the corpses are burnt of the people that are deceased. And we were on a boat ride there, down past the Ghat. Paramahansaji again, back at Bodh. This is Subrata's report on the Kundalini Mandala. So I don't know if I'll get right into this now. Maybe I'll just quickly flick it over. I won't get into it too much, but I'll talk a bit more about this. I've decided I'm going to do a talk next month about the Kundalini Research Project, and so I'll talk a bit more about this and the Kundalini proposal next month. Here's a photo at Mana up above Badrinath. So you can see how jagged and tall those mountains are. That's massive. And this is up near the Tibetan border, where the source of the Saraswati River is, and where the Vyasa Gufa is, where the Veda Vyasa, where his cave is. So it's really amazing. Oh, the Hirima say, that's a document that I put together, Manu Sangita. So that was a commentary by Lahiri Masay that Swami Satyaswarananda did. So this is when I got a blessing from Lahiri Masay, white light pouring out of his third eye into me. So that was amazing. So what I want to do here, let's have a look. Okay, so there's Mount Kailash. According to Yogi Naraharanath, this is where Babaji lives here. See there? I've written in there. Oh, sorry. I've written in there. Siddha Ashram, right? So Mount Kailash, Manasarova, Siddha Ashram, Tibet. Right, so Tibet, Nepal, and so there's a couple of hot spots where Babaji seems to be associated with, but this is a hot spot. And take that off. And apart from that, there's obviously Harak and Baba Heroic and Babaji was from Nepal, and Neem Karoli Baba was a disciple of Babaji. So that's another mystical place, Kainchi Dam, from Neem Karoli Baba's ashram. Babaji's pretty associated with his disciples. So there's a beautiful photo at the Kumbh Mela over 100 years ago, a long time ago. That's a beauty, that one. Heroic and Baba. So this area around where he was associated with, around Nainital in the Himalayas, where I want to go there as well. So Nainital, so near there is where um, so Heroic and Baba is associated with that area around there, Nainital. So there's another photo of Varanasi. There's Yogi Narayananath. So that was after he passed away. Nepalese stamp honouring Yogi Narayananath, who's a great saint. They used to call him the walking Pashupadinath. So yeah, and he was the head of the Nath lineage. I think at that time he was in also the head of the not only in Nepal but also in India. There he is there. So I just wanted to show those photos, and I'm going to take that off. All right. So what happened there? Oh, I do apologise. Oh, so there's this area here, right there, is where Yogi Narayananath told me where Babaji lived. Right there, the coordinates, how far it was from Mount Kailash to there, and Heroic and Babaji. He was around the Nainital area in the Himalayas, and disappeared around 1925. Took Samadhi, Jala Samadhi, in the Kali River, which is on the border between India and Nepal. There we go. And there's Yogi Narayananath again, the stamp in honor of Yogi Narayananath. So that's the saint of Nepal. And I'll just take that off share now. I think. So what I wanted to do is talk about the just briefly. I've sort of covered a bit about everything. So, also why I'm here. This is what Babaji told me in a dream. Tatwamasi, that thou art. Babaji told me that Kriya is for that power. Tat, that. The Kriya is for that power. What's that? Total consciousness, the absolute. So, Satchidananda, the absolute. So that's all I wanted to really say about Babaji, but he's I thought I'd continue on the same theme a year ago when I started talking about Babaji and his formula. So we'll hear more about that as in time to come. And I intend to do a lot more things over the next year, and and work with my scientific friends as well on this genetics program, extraterrestrial or star seed genetics. I'm sure there's plenty of star seeds out there amongst all my yoga friends and colleagues around the world, because there's definitely ones that have had awakenings, Kundalini awakenings, chakra awakenings. You know, this DNA is very interesting, especially that 95% of the DNA that has never really been investigated, but Max Rempel XG1, that's going to be investigated. So I hope you can get together and help support it. I'm helping as well as much as I can, Max, and I can really see how that's going to make big inroads and into helping explain the phenomena, or what's the DNA code, and what happens when the chakras light up. What's Kundalini do to the DNA? So I've got many thoughts in my mind for the Kundalini Research Project, but I think Max's work has to happen first with the DNA, and surely all these ascended masters, they're probably. I mean, we've probably all got some sort of DNA we've got no idea about until we get it tested. So there might be some surprises coming in the next year or two. And anyway, that's all I wanted to say for tonight. And I'm going to come back and do a talk on the 18th of next month, which is 18th of August, on the Kundalini Research Project. The scientific protocol, I'm going to make some amendments to the protocol, and in light of all the research that Max is doing for his project, or the XG1 project, which I'm deeply involved with as well. So I'm going to work at amending that protocol and see if we can get some support from within India or other countries, and see if we can have another go at it. Like 10 years ago, it was really firing, and then it was just then it just fell in a heap because we didn't get any support. But I think things have moved along a bit since then in awareness and technology as well. So, okay, that's all I wanted to say. So, Hariom, thank you. Good night.